Good morning and welcome to American Scouser's pre-match show. I am your host, the one they let sit in the chair even though they shouldn't. And with me today, I brought some of my friends introducing Kazi. Welcome back, Kazi. How are you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I want to ask, how is Arteta, do you think?
I mean, he's got some headache today, hasn't he?
Just a little bit.
I mean, but that's what happens. Mistakes happen. You should just move on. Mistakes happen, Matthias. That's what we were told for weeks, weren't we, pal?
That's the only thing we were told. I mean, his hair might be just glued on a little too tight, and that might be where the headache's coming from. So hopefully...
I am jealous of that, by the way. Yeah.
And introducing Mecca. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
His hair is made of Lego. His hair is made of Lego. His hair is made of Lego, and his team is really shite.
Unfortunately, it took Mecca 3 weeks to think of that one.
Well, whether it took 3 weeks or 3 months, I'm glad that we heard it. And someone I'm usually not glad to hear from, Gally, how are you?
Hey, for the only one who's got a head of lettuce like Arteta, I will say Macca's song is not as shite as I thought it was when I read it in print in Discord. But I will say it is funny that Macca's coming up with songs about other men's hair.
Listen, it's jealousy.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. That's all it is.
Yeah, we feel.
Morning, boys.
So, yes, the boys are at Kenilworth Road today. It's been a long time since they've played anywhere near this stadium. We have the lineup coming up here, or it has come out. We see Joey G at left back. Kazi, initial thoughts. I know I posted in Discord that rumor was that he was in. You were already in on the rumor somehow. You're within the club. You knew about it. What are your feelings?
I'm a big fan of it, if I'm honest. I've had a good think about it, and I've watched a few Luton games this season. I think they've scored 9 goals. I think about 7 of them are set pieces. Liverpool could really do with the extra height on set pieces and that kind of big centre-half, marauding kind of player. We shouldn't need much of Joe Gomez's attacking ability on the left-hand side this game. We should be able to get the job done without that. So I think the manager is sacrificing that part. But again, to get that extra big body at the centre-half, there's also a case here for the manager, at least. This is an important game, of course. If Liverpool want to win the league, Liverpool have to beat Luton. But Liverpool play Toulouse on Thursday, which in my opinion is probably just as an important game. Liverpool have to finish top of that group, whether they like it or not. And Liverpool would like to get that sewn up on Thursday. So we can have 2 games off playing whoever you like. Playing me and you there. So that's it. I think that's another reason as well. You don't really want a Costas pull-up on a little hamstring for 4 weeks because he hasn't played much football and then he's playing every single game. So if there's one game that you want to rest him in, I think this is a good game. And again, going back to the set pieces, I think it's extremely important we get them extra big men in there.
Speaking of the depth, Mecca, if let's say Gomez does pull a hammy in this one, do you think that moving forward for the right side is a little bit more concerning than having Costas pull up on the left side?
Well, first of all, I want to say we're not playing to lose on Thursday. We always play to win. Yeah, I think that's right. I think if we lose,
Yep, for the best.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Welcome back.
Shouldn't you?
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, I think if we have something happen to Gomez, then it becomes a lot more pressing in January to find. We're always talking about a backup for Trent Alexander-Arnold anyway, and we're always waiting for Calvin Ramsey to appear out of the myth, and show up and prove his existence. I think Cosley called it perfectly correct. We have a game on Thursday, and we don't want anything to happen to Costas. So you need to. I mean, we trust Gomez there. I mean, maybe not against like Arsenal, City, Spurs or something like that, but definitely against Luton, we should trust Gomez to do a job there, and he will do a job. It'll be good for him. And then I think we probably see maybe Costas come in if something looks up in the second half for Gomez that he might be a little bit fatigued or something like that. I'm really interested to see midfield. I'll have to say that excited me as soon as I saw the lineup.
That was my next question to Gally here with the midfield. I know we were talking about rotation. Do you feel like this was a game perhaps to give some of these guys a little break potentially, maybe Sobo or Mac?
I mean, I think they're going to get a little break on Thursday. I know Kazi said it's a big match, and I agree with him, but he's been going with Endo and probably Jones if he's healthy. I know he's not even in the match day squad today. So I think for the Europa League match, they'll be fine. You can start Jones, Endo, Elliott, a combination of them, maybe Gravenberch. I think this is our starting midfield when Klopp has it right now. I know, I think that Gravenberch played himself into this role, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Jones hasn't been fit and hasn't been available because of the red card. So we'll see if he gets back in there. But whether it's Jones and Gravenberch and then Soboslai and McAllister, I think all things said, that's our midfield right now. So Klopp knows he has a full week before the next Premier League match. We go get 3 points, get the second, and put a lot of pressure on Spurs tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with Arsenal dropping points, Villa dropping points, this seems like a good weekend to not drop points, especially against a side like Luton.
Mm-hmm.
Kazi, looking at the front three of Jota, Salah, Nunez, I know some of us don't love Jota and Nunez together, kind of feel like they're similar players, kind of get lost in the same positions. How do you see that playing out up top?
I don't like Jota on the left at all, really. I'd much prefer Darwin on the left, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I think in this type of game, I think you need a player when they've got 10 behind the ball. I think you need a player like Jota or Gakpo, just a little bit of a weaver kind of thing, just a weave through, take a couple of players on. And they're probably our best two players who are best at dribbling and taking players on like that, especially in and around the box. Jota loves to win a foul in and around the box kind of deal. And so I get that. The Darwin one's interesting to me. More to the fact of he is on a little bit of form right now. I will say that, definitely. I did think that we have Brentford as well at home on Sunday, I believe. And I thought Gakpo might get one. So I think Gakpo might get Brentford. And then he has a decision to make for City. But I think there is an international break before the City game. Yep. So he has a decision to make that in that sense. But you may as well ride the Darwin Nunez wave while he's in form. Because he is such a scatty player and he is such a sketchy patches kind of player. He can have a Brighton performance or he can have his other performances that he's had this season. So ride the wave and just play him until he kind of falls off a cliff in terms of form. So.
And good morning to Harry, joining us here, saying, can imagine Jota bobbing and weaving through a pack defense today. Hope there's an end product. Mecca, I was going to ask, because Kazi kind of brought it up a little bit. Nunez seems like a player that plays off of a lot of confidence, and part of the confidence is getting a good run of fixtures back to back to back. Do you think this is, in terms of seeing him today, it is due to the fact that we need to ride that wave, or this is just sort of the vision that Klopp had, regardless of form?
I think if we know anything about Klopp is that he always tries to know his players. It's not kind of like a Rafa rotation or a Brendan Rodgers. Let's just change up the team for the sake of it for a game, a big important game. Let's just play the reserves in that one for some reason. I think he knows his players and he knows that Nunez looks like he's happy right now. The only thing I would think about just for Jota is if Jota was happy enough to kind of play off Nunez and let Nunez do the chaos and running around and cause the destruction that he does so well, and then Jota filled in, I think that would be actually a fairly fantastic partnership. It's just a matter of whether Jota has enough of an ego or not enough of an ego to actually do that. But I think he kind of reminds me of Stan Collymore, because he might agree or disagree in that if you let Nunez do his thing and then just pick up the pieces that go around him, you'll have a fantastic run of attacking form. The problem is that for Collymore it was Robbie Fowler. Robbie Fowler was taking second place to nobody. But Jota, if he could figure that part out, he'd probably even get more rewards for his work. But I think definitely for Darwin Nunez, he's riding the wave. And then when that falls apart, then maybe we see Gakpo come in for a long period, or Jota going up front and Diaz on the left if things work out with his family situation.
Yeah, I think, and you guys have both brought up the Gakpo situation and having a team that's going to sit back. Gally, do you feel like this game was set up better for Gakpo to start rather than to come in?
Probably was, but I also think that Gakpo is coming off an injury. Klopp knows it. I think he doesn't want to rush him back. He's important to us, and we should be able to beat Luton with any one of the 5 strikers and offensive players that we have. I think Nunez does cause a little bit of problems at them early if we're making runs and just pulling defenders in different ways. I think that's maybe the way he's played the last few matches. That's got to be in Klopp's thinking. And I think that with Diaz not playing and possibly like being on the bench but not being needed unless not being used unless absolutely needed with all of his personal stuff, I think having Darwin's pace on the pitch makes Luton have to do something and think about something that maybe Gakpo doesn't bring. So for this match, I think it actually lines up well with who we have available. And I think we're going to be just fine because I think Gravenberch and Soberslide should be able to pick a pass throughout this midfield and really turn them around. I expect this to be a match where we're going for it, making up the goal difference the way City did yesterday. Be ruthless.
Yeah. Should be a comfortable one. Someone who's never comfortable watching Liverpool. Timothy, welcome. Good morning. How are you?
Why are you guys saying these things? It's never comfortable, people. It is never comfortable. Once the first goal comes in, I think I'll be comfortable. But until then, man, yes, I worry as a lifestyle. I've said it many times.
We have every crew needs one. We all have our each personality, and that's who we are. And you are the worrier, and that's okay. And
thanks, man. This is good morning therapy for me.
And before you worry too much, I will make sure to plug that if you guys are tuning in right now, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. As our great friend and colleague Paul Bickler once said,
like and subscribe, smash that like button.
So, Mitchin, we went over a little bit.
That did it for Kazi. Yeah.
That's it. What we got did. I want that as my ringtone on my phone.
I would be scarred to ever answer a phone ever again if all I heard was Bickler's voice anytime anyone called me. I would run. We talked about Joe Gomez playing as left back today. What are your initial thoughts regarding that?
I like it, actually. I'm probably like the one who likes it the most out of like our conversations. I just feel like I know last game when we played home, we kind of like laid it out differently. Like Harry covered it in his video and stuff too. And it kind of like enabled him to push up more and play more as a winger, if you will. But if we said, this style with Trent inverted and stuff does not fit Robertson, it cost us even less. And I think Gomez does a lot better in that situation. He can do that. He can be that third center back because he's the center back. And then he can also push up and he has the pace. So I think I know the natural lineup and the depth chart, if you will, is going to your backup left back. But I like this a lot better, to be honest with you. I just don't know how much Kostas will like it, seeing a right back / center back start over him at left back.
Kazi, do you find that could impact Kostas' confidence? Is he more of a Nunez type of guy that needs the confidence, or is he more of the guy that understands, I'm just happy to have played the last month, and I'm okay to sit one?
It's probably that, to be honest. That he's just I think he knows when he signed his new deal exactly his place in the squad, and the manager definitely set his stall out in the first bench press conference after Robertson's injury when he said we have Joe Gomez, i.e., I have options, and this is what I'm going to do, kind of thing. I'm going off Tim said. I think that is right. Slotting back to 3 at the back because they do play a lot of 4-4-2. Luton. They are quite old school that way. So when you can get the extra big man in there, and you can Kanate, Van Dijk can go man for man then against their 2 centre. You know what I mean? They got that big lad up front who scored a couple of goals, a couple of pens, and that's for them. He's a bit of a monster. He's like an old school throwback number 9 kind of player. But yeah, mate, I don't see any problems today. Going back to that squad though, mate. When you keep bringing it up, I keep looking. We have Doak and Kwanzaa on the bench. Wait till you add, Robertson, Thiago, and these lads back into the Curtis Jones. That squad can rival anyone, literally anyone in probably world football. Like that's not even like me being, I think Elliott's been our second best midfielder this year, and he can't start, which is insane. We all know how good Diaz is. Gakpo speaks for himself as well. Joel Matip looks like he's got a renaissance in him right now, and he looks like, are we actually getting into the conversation of give him another deal? Are we actually getting into that conversation for Joel Matip? So I just can't get over how deep we are. It's amazing. I'm so super pleased, mate, honestly. What a squad.
With the depth in mind, Mecca, do you feel like that I guess, I mean, I don't know if it's the right thing to say, but do you think that adds more pressure on this team to perform in every competition in the way that they should be expected to perform?
Yeah, I think it's funny how we compare us to, say, Chelsea and City, who have deep squads, but they buy what they reckon to be the best. They pay the highest prices to get what they reckon to be the best. And there's probably a sense of some of those players, like say, for example, Grealish, who seems to be doing a lot of social media stuff and is quite happy to be not playing sometimes by the looks of him. Whereas we have players that fit a system. So they know, like, if Kelleher's told you're going to be the League Cup goalkeeper, he knows he's going to play those games and he knows where he fits in the system. If Elliott is told, you're going to play all the cup games and the European games, he knows he's going to play. There's no doubt that Klopp talks to his players and says, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and then we change if we have to. So the players feel valued. So I think they know that they have a job to do. My job is to win the games in the league. My job is to win the games in the cup. So we're going to get a lot of buy-in from the Liverpool players to what Klopp wants, because he does communicate it, like it seems, from all accounts, with the players exactly what's expected of them. And then if a chance pops up somewhere else, then you've done enough in the other games to go, let's hope it doesn't happen. But McAllister is out. Endo knows he might step in there into that spot, and he's going to be expected to perform. It's the correct type of pressure to put on players, rather than we spend $75 trillion on you, but you're only going to play in the FA Cup third round. There's no motivation there. You're going to sit on the bench. You're going to be the lads we went after that are on Chelsea, watching them lose week after week, and no, you're not going to play, and go, I'm getting paid anyway. I think the way we do it is the correct way to do it, which is why Klopp is probably the best manager in the world.
Ryan Thompson joining us this morning. Good morning, Ryan, and Dave as well joining us. Chelsea buys, Liverpool has the system. Gally, I mean, this could be, we could have an entire hour-long conversation about this, most likely, but I know Timothy and I have talked about it on the morning shows. This is just a testament to the culture at a club more than anything, right? Because you have Chelsea, you have Man United, who buy quality players, but if there is sort of a cancerous feeling in that locker room, it can sort of spread. And we've been pretty fortunate to not see that here. And is that just plain luck, or is that a culture driven and nailed at the club?
Yeah, I'm not going to take anything away from, how underwhelming both players have been at Chelsea and United in the way that they've played. Because I think sometimes the culture thing, culture goes so far. When the players are good on the pitch, the culture changes quickly, right? Like, wins make things a lot better. But they've been really, really shitty. So let's be just frank. That being said, anyone who's ever worked somewhere where it really sucks, like every day to go to work and your boss sucks and your coworkers suck, it just makes things get shittier and shittier. And I think that comes into account at a football club, just like it does at a regular job that one of us might do. And I think what they've created at Liverpool is a great place to work, no matter what you're doing. And I think it all starts with people buying into the number one thing, which is winning on the field. And you win on the field by having good people that work together. And someone said it earlier, I think it was Maka, I believe these guys all know their job, all the way down to the 16-year-old kids that are getting called up to practice, where they're like, hey, you're not here to be a hero. You're not here to lay out players and show your worth. Or like, you're here to run around really fast because they got a couple guys on their team and you're like a decoy. We need you to act like you're Raheem Sterling running down the wing today. And everyone does their job because they're all committed to the weekend and to the trophies and to everything. And I think that's what they've created, in my opinion. It's really special to see. It's a mix between like a good college football team and like a professional, almost like an international level team, because it almost looks like these guys come together with even more of a bond than most do. Doesn't look like the United guys actually have one common thing that they all agree on, other than the fact that they're sick of hearing the Dutch guy squeak every single day in the dressing room, right? Like, that's all that it looks like. Where with Liverpool, it's like, it actually looks like these guys hang out and go to the movies on their off days. And I know only some of them do, but they genuinely look like they are all not more than just friends. They look like they have it figured out, and I think
Best
that starts
friends.
with the guy with the big smile.
You got Sabozlai walking around a training pitch in a fucking dressing gown. That's how comfortable he is. You know what I mean? So we're cool.
And
I'd just like to point out, I'm pretty sure all the Man United players agree wholeheartedly that Fernandez is a prat. Yeah, they all agree on that.
I definitely hate him. I genuinely reckon he hates him. I reckon they were gutted he scored the winner yesterday.
I bet I will say there is part of me that thinks that as he ran over, Scott McTominay thought about 2-footing him in the corner.
Yeah.
It was just like, I could end this right now, and we could never have to see him wear the captain's armband again. It'd probably be his way to endear himself back to the United supporters' heart.
Bruno.
I'll tell you right now, though, right, guys, going back to it, though, it's a series. Because Villa just lost it, Liverpool have a chance to go 4 points clear in fourth here. It's now turned into and we know it's a big game anyway. We get in, we know it's Luton, and we're kind of talking them down, but they're in the Premier League on merit. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of Luton. They beat our Blue Brothers from across the park, which is always nice. So, well, Liverpool have a chance to go 4 points clear of fifth and into the top four, which is massive. Even, 11, 12 games into the season, which we all would have took at the start, by the way. We all would have took at the start. So, let's really fucking just nail these today. I've got a feeling, I know we'll get to score predictions, but I've got a feeling if Liverpool go 2-3-0 up, they'll probably finish 3-0. I think Luton shake hands on 3-0. I think if Liverpool are 3-0 half-time, that Luton just go, okay, you take that, you take your 3-0, we'll take our 3-0, and we all just call it quits. And do us a favour, do not do what Newcastle did to Sheffield United. Yeah,
I absolutely agree. I think Gally mentioned, you were talking about sort of the mixture of the college and the professional international, and something to kind of look at here that I overlooked, really, is the average age of our starting 11. Is younger than the average age of Luton starting 11. Something that I don't think we would have expected to say last year at any point. Timothy, knowing that this team is as young as it is, but still gelling as well as it is, I guess it's a good sign for things ahead.
That's the weird thing, right? I mean, we've talked about this in the past about, I think the culture and how well, people fit in this year is probably a testament to that. Because, I mean, look at that lineup right there, that midfield, that whole three is brand new, and it does not really feel like it. But I don't know, this is kind of like where we get torn, right? I mean, we talked about it in many podcasts in the past about taking more chances, doing more rotation in the squad and stuff like that. And I don't know if sometimes being consistent, maybe to a fault, right, that we've criticized, why is this dude still here and stuff like that. Maybe sometimes being consistent to a fault kind of enables you to keep that culture intact. So when these new guys come in, even though you got brand new entire midfield, it's a lot easier for them to blend in. It's a lot easier to keep the culture and stuff like that. Because I think that's what happens, going back to, when we were talking about the pressure put on players that, like Mecca was talking about. I think that's a great point because I think price tag makes a difference too. Because if you're a left back, or I don't know, you're playing left of midfield and you're doing really great, you're in great form, but then somebody's bought for 100 million, that guy's going to play. I mean, they didn't just play 100 million. Well, maybe Chelsea does, to put him on the bench. So that's kind of a different kind of pressure as opposed to having this rotation and knowing you have to perform to stay within that rotation and not get bumped on further. So I think, like Mecca was saying, it's a lot more healthy in terms of rotation. And I think getting younger, I mean, we never thought you would get so much younger this fast and stay good, right? Not go into a rebuilding mode or something like that where we dipped as we introduce new guys. I think that's pretty impressive. The odd thing is we still don't know who should get the credit for that for the off season. I know anything good goes to Klopp, anything bad goes to FSG in general. Shumatke might be the one. But I mean, the odd thing is none of us really actually know who to credit to.
Yeah.
If we give Shumatke all the credit, then it's just like thanking both of them because Klopp wanted him and FSG hired him.
I guess,
and everybody won.
Hey!
And then once it started making it work, they were like, you can even stay a little longer. Stay till the end of the season. And then they were like, you know what? My wife doesn't want to kick you out yet. You can stay till the end of the 3 years.
We're going to spare bedroom for you.
Klopp's thinking about signing an extension. We're going to extend that lease at the hotel. You can stay even longer.
And before you know it, Schmatka's got a statue next to Shankly. Before you know it.
Schmanky.
He's gonna have his own. He's gonna have his own song. They're gonna be singing to George in the top end. It's gonna be awesome.
Right. It goes back to the culture. It's the vibe. They've made the correct decisions. Again, we know FSG is not perfect in the past, and they've made incorrect decisions. But it looks like this summer they've got it right. So you just got to give them credit. They have got it right this summer. I don't care if they spend 500 million or 50 million, as long as you sign the right players. But you can't leave us short. Do you know what I mean? We all thought we were short of centre half. Let's get it right. In the summer, we were all going, we've got no centre half. Then Matip looks like Franco Baresi again, and Jarrod Kwanzaa looks like the new Maldini. And then we all go, oh my God, we're the fucking best squad in the world. Because that's the manager. Because funny enough, who would have thought that the manager knows more than us? I didn't think he would, but he does.
To be fair, though, Maldini is so good looking. He still looks like a new Maldini.
Yeah. Maldini looks like a new Maldini,
Yeah.
I did clip that, by the way. I did mark that to be clipped where Kazi was just praising FSG nonstop, because that's going to go right next to that Bickler soundbite. I'm just going to play that every show.
I'll always give credit where it's due. Always give credit where it's due. Do you know what I mean?
All right.
We have to always appreciate that from Kazi. He puts his money where his mouth is all the time. That's something I will give him. I alluded to this earlier, and now that Timuchin's here, we can play this fun game of trivia that I have brought up.
Look at Jelly. He's like, wait, what?
Trivia about Luton Town.
Yes.
There's not trivia about Luton Town other than the fact that can you name the last time? And no, I can't.
Well, that's
how
part
the
of
question
it. I mean,
goes.
It's not that bad, but okay. So here's the question. It's not a softball per se, but it's easier than being too specific. Liverpool has played Luton Town a total of 38 times. Last time being all the way back in 2008 in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Could you can answer one of two questions. What is the overall record for Liverpool against Luton? Or who scored any of the 5 goals in the FA Cup match against Luton back in 2008? Maka, we'll start with you.
Alonso was one of the scorers, wasn't he, against Luton?
That was 06. We played. That was away from home, 5-3.
Oh, okay.
I need by year. What kind of a freaking brain?
Cinema Pongo got 2 that game, I think.
I need a one of those buzzers. You know, Timothy, can we get a sound in here where it goes like, you know, or
I do like that on myself if it helps.
I'm not even guessing. I have no clue.
I think Liverpool in the 08 game, I was there. We won 5-0.
It was at home.
Yeah, we won 5-0. But I can't tell you the story, but I can tell you what happened. It was Jamie Carragher's 500th appearance, and a Luton fan ran on street naked on the pitch. It's a very famous picture of Carragher pointing at his ne'er-do-well.
Is that from that game?
I think is that game. Yes.
Really?
That was
I know the picture you're talking about. How do you guys?
Oh, I remember the Luton fans' ass, just none of the goal scorers. Who scored? I remember the naked Luton fan, but not the goal.
It's basically like the poor kid there for Spurs that nobody will ever remember a moment of his performance in the Champions League final, but they'll always remember that he almost lost his entire lunch when the girl ran by in the bikini during the middle of the match.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll go with the record. I'll go 25, 29, 5, and 4.
Okay. Any other takers?
I just can't tell by the response.
Do you know what? Luton were okay back in the 80s. I think they won the League Cup in like 87. So Luton were actually okay in the 80s. So I'll say a little bit less, 23 wins Liverpool, and then whatever the rest. But by the way, for the goal scorers, I think Gerrard did score in that game. And maybe Ryan Babel got one, but I can't remember.
I will let you know in a moment. Maka, you want to take a guess on games 1 out of the 38?
30.
Gally.
26.
So everyone shot a lot higher than the actual answer. Only 18. 18 wins, 13 draws, 7 losses over the course of since 1920 to 2008. The goal scorers in that FA Cup match, Gerrard had 3, a hat trick in the second half. Sami Hyypiä with 1. and Ryan Babel with the only one in the first half. So it was 1-0 at
One
halftime.
time Gally doesn't answer Gerard as a guest. It is the answer.
Ian said. Yeah.
Well, let me give you guys maybe a little bit of easier one then. Let's start with Gally. Prediction for today. What is the scoreline? Do you want to throw in a couple goal scorers? Over to the comments as well, guys. Last week I promised it. If you get the score right and the goal scorer is right, American Scouser will send you something, and it's coming out of my pocket. So
Yeah, let me rephrase that. Matush will send you something.
I'm going to go 4-0. Mo will score. He always scores.
All four?
No, but Mo will score. I'm not giving you 4 different goal scorers.
It doesn't have to be. There could be 2 players of the brace. It's fine. Maka?
I got to go 5-1, and the one is Benny just because he plays for Ireland. I want him to have confidence because our team is crap right now. But other than that, realistically, I'd say 5-0. I can see where Cozzy's coming from with the 3-0, but I don't know whether we'll get the 3-0 at half time. I think it'll be a second half destruction.
Cozzy?
Yeah, I'll go 3-0. I think if whatever time we get to 3-0, I think both teams would love to shake hands on 3-0. Klopp is the king of shaking hands on 3-4-0 in games. He's literally the king of it. I always remember going back to that United game when we beat them 5-0, and he said we just shook hands on 55 because they didn't want to get anyone else injured. Because Keita got injured that game when Pogba done him. And he always said, I just thought, just pass the ball around the back, guys, we're cool. And I think the manager will do that as well. So I'll go 3-0 Liverpool.
Timothy?
Yeah, I can see that. Similar to the Forest game where we've just pressed pause and we were like, yeah, let's just let the time run out kind of thing. I'm going with 4-1. Timuchin special with a bonus. 4-1. I
guess the only question that would be here, and this is going back to Kazi's point earlier in the show, is with City putting 6 past Bournemouth. I know Klopp likes to put the brakes on, but is this a moment where if you find the potential to get a couple 2 more, is it worth it given the context of what could be valuable down the line?
I think it's always worth it if you can do it. I just don't think I don't think the manager's going to be that arsed if he does it or not. If Liverpool lose the league on goal difference, you can always swallow it. You can go, all right, fair enough. You can always look back to certain moments in games, but you've also got to give these guys credit as well. I think they'll shut up shop at 3-0. I think they'll go 5-4-1 at 3-0 and go, well, let's not get embarrassed here. And then before you know it, the subs come on, and then Elliott's pulling strings, and then Diaz is running in behind, and then you just never know what can happen kind of thing. But basically, the subs might not get the memo. If they come on,
that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
I think it's a risk reward, right? Like you don't want to go for 5 at the risk of injuring Mo or something like that, playing him 90. But I do agree that you have some people on the bench who do want to come in and perform. And yeah, if they don't get the memo and they go out there, continue to try to create and stuff like that, it can keep going up too.
Gally?
This is the type of match where I could see Doak getting the final 10 minutes and Doak being the guy running 150 miles an hour saying, like, I'm getting a goal here today because I don't know when my next set of minutes are coming. Like, maybe that's how it goes from 3-0 to 4 or 4 to 5. But I'm with Kazi. They'll slowly close up shop unless it's a guy like Jota who's just allowed to play the whole 90 because the guy just knows how to go one speed, which is like to the net and trying to score. Like I could see Jota not getting the memo either and just being like, yeah, I'm going to score because I don't know how many of these I get. I think it should be a comfortable win, but it's one of those ones you got to get out there and you got to score a goal early. Like you got to score early. Don't let them have something to hang on to late because then it gets nervy.
Just to make Timuchin feel better, I watched these at home against Spurs and they played really well and had a lot of good chances against Spurs. And I know Spurs went down to 10 men in the second half. But
how was that making me feel better, by the way?
Because I want to make you feel more nervous.
Oh, okay. Thanks,
actually, I want to try and turn Luton into a prime Barcelona away side.
You're justifying my nerves. Okay,
you know
I get it.
Because Carlton Morris is basically Zlatan. So they did play really well at home, and they have things to do at home. But if Liverpool's goal in the first 10, that's all she wrote.
I'm just thinking that if Diaz gets on the field, will he take all of the rage that he's probably feeling right now out on Luton?
Yeah,
because he'll need some sort of release, and maybe he's the one that doesn't get the memo. if he gets on the field, or they just go, do what you have to do. Just whatever makes you feel good, do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's maybe it's just a token, get your mind off a few things, so you're going to get like the last 3 minutes of injury time or something like that, just to make him feel normal. But if he gets any substantial amount of time, we could see him going on a rampage to try and just get all that anger out of him, for everything that's been unfortunately happening to him in the last few weeks.
Absolutely. Well, I will go with a 4-0 with the Darwin hat trick because my FPL captain says I need it. That's.
Don't say a Darwin hat trick. I can't be asked listen to an on, man. Can't be bothered. Genuinely cannot be bothered. As much as I want the lad to do well, that is the unfortunate downside of the lad doing well, isn't it?
The day we just shut it off on a Friday and just lay on Anna's when like Thiago and Nunez play and Thiago assists Nunez.
All right.
The screen will blow up.
Okay, if we ever see Thiago play again, we'll get to that point. But until then,
I'm far too old to believe in things like Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, or Thiago playing for Liverpool. All right, we'll get out of here on that. I got a better chance of playing for Liverpool this season than Thiago does, is what I'm thinking.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you guys back on the post-match show hosted by Maka. We will see you guys in about 2 hours-ish after a big win up the Reds. Thank you for joining us. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, please. And we'll see you next time.